My secret, just do something that ain't nobody ever done before, but make it sound like something that's always been there forever.
Oh. Welcome to This Filipino American Life.
A podcast that explores the nuanced experiences of Filipino Americans in the United States.
At iba pa.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for catching me, guys.
You're welcome. We are Elaine Dolalas
Ryan Carpio.
Ako po si Joseph Bernardo.
and
Mike.
producer Mike.
Producer Mike. Hi, everybody. Before we start this episode, we want to give a few shout-outs to the listeners.
Correct. We have a TFL pan of the episode, Lauren Chalker. I hope I'm saying that right. Lauren Chalker. She is a Patreon of TFL. You too can be a Patreon of TFL and support our podcast by making monthly donations to us at patreon.com/TFL podcast.
Awesome.
Yeah, and if you want to make a month, not a monthly, but a one-time donation, you can email us at thisfilipinoamericanlife@gmail.com.
What does the money go to?
It goes to the show. It goes to helping us make this show, Ryan.
Okay.
It does not go to your gambling habits.
Hey. I'm a winning person, so I don't gamble.
Yeah, there are certain expenses like hosting the website and all the equipment and stuff like that we need to pay for. And thank you very much to all the Patreons
Correct.
who have
thank you.
donated to
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you.
Especially Lauren Chalker, because this is your episode. And we also have other ways to support. You can buy a t-shirt. We currently have the white t-shirt with the logo that is available now for how much, Joe?
$15.
All right.
Plus shipping and handling.
Yeah, so you email thisfilipinoamericanlife@gmail.com and we can get that shirt to you. And
Great.
payment info to you. Yeah. All right, so what's this episode about, Joe?
What did we talk about?
Yeah, this episode we're actually going to talk about Manny Pacquiao.
What?
Manny.
And the Manny Pacquiao era. I would kind of bookend it with 2003 to 2015.
R.I.P.
The Manny
2015.
Pacquiao. Yeah.
R.I.P. made his career in 2015.
And for those who are Filipino, everybody who knows Manny Pacquiao, that's one of the first things that non-Filipinos always say to you. Hey, I know Manny Pacquiao, or I know about Manny Pacquiao.
Hey, how's the... I like adobo and Manny Pacquiao. Is great. Great, thanks.
Hey, I've seen Manny Pacquiao at the Grove, and he's just hanging out there. Thank you.
With who, Elaine?
With his Jinky with a new face.
So all of us here actually remember what it was like pre-Manny Pacquiao days. Back when the only Filipinos that people knew were
Rufio.
Rufio, Dante Basco, Lea Salonga. Who else? The cheating Little League World
Baseball
Series champion.
Baseball team.
Imelda Marcos.
Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider.
Yeah, but I don't think...
Aki in Troop Beverly Hills, but they didn't know her name was Aki, which is like that Filipino girl in Troop Beverly Hills.
I think people knew who Rob Schneider was Filipino because they had a Filipino friend who told them, "Hey, Rob Schneider is half Filipino."
Did you see that mom episode of SNL when his mom came out? She's Filipino.
I did. But roughly around like what 2000, mid 2000s, Manny Pacquiao emerged as a cultural icon in the United States and in the world. When did you first hear about Manny Pacquiao, guys?
That's a good question. I don't remember which fight, but I remember hearing about him.
Probably around that time. I think his fight Marquez won. The Manny Pacquiao versus Marquez part
the
one.
draw.
Yeah,
it was a draw.
But his name had been coming around. He was a young fighter, and his name has been coming around. And my brother, who still followed boxing during that time, was like, hey, there's a Filipino kid, and anything that's Filipino related, I'm all, we're all kind of all ears. Hey, what, where, and you kind of just follow him from that point on, and then he just kind of took off in terms of like how he fought, and but that's how I remember it. Like, it wasn't really, there wasn't anything spectacular. I just started watching him, and I got interested in it. And then there was another fight, and then he was more exciting than the last one. So
I just remember parties. His fights always came with parties. And it would always be like someone's backyard parties, and like yelling at the TV, talking a lot of shit at the TV. Like, I feel like the peak, I want to say it was a party in Hi-Fi that like the LA historic Filipino town at the Coronado House, and where the LA Times was there to film the party, and it was like a big deal.
Oh yeah, I DJ'd that party.
Mike DJ'd that party. I feel like the ABC News was there. We were on TV. I was like all excited, but I remember it was just like, was that Ricky Hatton? That party? I don't know.
Did he win that fight? I can't remember.
Yeah, he did, because we thought we thought Ricky Hatton got murdered on TV.
Second round.
We were like, oh my God,
knockout.
He's dead. He got up and he wasn't murdered on live television, but I felt like,
he's already dead.
Yeah, against Hatton, that was probably his most vicious fight.
Yeah. And then it went down from there.
I mean, that was the most, I think, standout part of that era, was that it basically became the reason to kind of come together.
Yeah.
There was like a lot of parties that were just like, oh, we're going to go watch the fight. You're going to go to blah, blah, blah's house or whatever. Even like amongst my family, like, that we wouldn't see that often. Like, they would be like, oh, but we're going to watch the fight in Carson. We're all going to go and watch it at blah, blah, blah's house.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like an intrinsic part of, Filipino social life.
Yeah.
I think it also made like boxing exciting, because boxing was just like dead for the longest time, right? For me, like I think the last fighter or fight I would really pay attention to before Manny Pacquiao, like, I don't know, like
Tyson.
Maybe. I mean, the Klitschko brothers were boring because they wouldn't fight each other.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like they were heavyweight champs, and then it was like, who am I going to watch? And I know, like,
De La Hoya.
and I hated Golden Boy. Like, I didn't like De La Hoya. And who is the kid from
Fernando
Oxnard?
Vargas?
Yeah, I didn't like him either. So like, boxing was boring, and I didn't like Mayweather because I just didn't like. I was bored.
Yeah.
It was boring to watch.
Yeah.
And so Manny made it exciting to watch, because it was like, oh, he's Filipino, and then it was just like, oh, he's also from Mindanao, and like I have that like love for like the South, because I'm from Mindanao. My parents are from Mindanao, so I was like, all right, this is cool, and it felt good to be on a winning team for once. Like, we're winning. Granted, he's winning by beating people up, but we're winning.
I think the first time I heard about it was 2003 when he fought Barrera on HBO. I think that was his kind of coming out.
Was he like flyweight then?
I don't remember what weight class he was, but
featherweight.
Was he feather?
Yeah.
Okay, but I was like, yeah, who's this guy? And we happened to have like a party going on at the house, and we all watched it, and we're all getting excited. So I was like, oh wow, this guy's pretty good. And then after that, like, we would watch it. I remember we had like a fight night through an organization I was a part of. We had a fight night party, and then after that, like, I think his first Pacquiao Morales fight.
Was there an HBO 24 attached to that fight?
I'm not sure.
No.
I don't think so. Not
No,
yet.
it's later.
That was too early.
But I remember, those starting with Pacquiao Morales. Me and my friends would go to Vegas and watch it live.
What? You used to go to
We used to
those?
go there from all the way from Morales. That was in 2004, whatever, up until whatchamacallit. Up until
Marquez?
No, right before the De La Hoya fight, because
Oh.
the De La Hoya fight was way too expensive. We couldn't go anymore. It was like $500 for the cheap seats.
Oh, so you
Before-
actually went to the fight?
Yeah, we would be
like
there.
not
at
the side parties in the hotel
No, we
room.
would go to the fight, and
Whoa.
it's crazy because I understand kind of the fight night event, like in
Yeah.
like going to someone's house and like watching it and everything, but going there live was like 10 times more exciting.
Yeah.
I could imagine.
It was crazy. And like,
Did you see Dave Bautista? Was he in the entourage when you went to this?
not to that one.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no. But I went to the early ones before he got really, really big.
Popular,
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
yeah. When it was affordable. But like, yeah, it was crazy. Some like for example, the one when they did it at the Thomas and Mack Center, it was Pacquiao Morales 3, and man, it was crazy. Like there's so many Filipinos there, and like
they all have the Adidas Filipino flag jacket.
Yeah, a lot of them did. Some wore barongs. There. Like you could tell the difference between Filipino Americans and like the Filipinos who just lived in Vegas, and the rich ass Filipinos who would fly from the Philippines to go there. Like you could tell the difference. Like, you could see like that. All those kind of differences, distinctions.
Is it exciting when you hear like that guy, the HBO, the Fight Night guy going, "Let's get ready to rumble"? What's
Michael
his name?
Buffer.
Yeah, when you hear him say that, it's like in person.
It's crazy. Oh my god, it's insane. It's insane. And then we used to go and make a weekend out of it, and I would spend so much money doing that.
How much? Was it like The Hangover? That's what I imagined those Vegas weekends to be like. Like how many teeth are real in your mouth, Joe?
For a stretch there, I would go to Vegas like once, maybe every other month.
Oh wow!
Because we go to Pacquiao fights, or we go to like a bachelor party or something like that. During that stretch during my 20s.
You should have been friends with Ryan.
Yeah.
So going to the like Thomas and Mack Center, or going to Pacquiao fights was like going to like adult friendship games. It was like it was crazy.
And just for clarity's sake, what is the friendship games?
We talked about it before, but it's a fun event that college students do every October.
The Filipino American clubs in college do in October at Cal State Fullerton.
Cal State Fullerton, yeah.
So Manny Pacquiao fights for adult friendship games.
So that was a lot of my experiences until after I couldn't afford anymore. So we just did the whole kind of fight night party thing,
like at home,
and my friends' houses. You know what's funny is that when I talked to somebody from the East Coast, and then they would have not a different experience, but like
that's true because they
had the time difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like,
oh, that's right.
The actual fight didn't start till midnight.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously they watch sports that late.
Sure.
In general,
but I remember talking to a friend, and they said, we'd have a family party, and there's always food, and just like a big event.
And when they
the
like
whole
sleep
family.
and then wake up for the fight.
And then like at midnight, that's when the fight would start. And after that, everyone would go home or something.
Yeah.
It was like, it's kind of weird.
Dynamic.
It's different dynamic.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Because we're used to it being
right.
It's like
West
real
Coast time.
West Coast time. And that's when the time was here in LA, and it was the same in Vegas.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, if you go to the Philippines, it's like there's a Sunday morning.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't go to church. They go to the church of boxing.
Yeah. And then they would have either fights or they would watch the fights on movie theaters, people's houses.
They're like, we'll get you in church. We'll put a screen in front of the altar.
Yeah.
And then afterwards we'll have communion.
Yeah.
I've actually always wondered how it was over there, just because, you always hear the, crime
There's no
stops, everyone's watching the fight, but I always kind of wonder how that global phenomenon is. Because, here, like, we have a bunch of parties, but there I imagine villages coming together and watching it together.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And imagine, like, that's when the entire Filipino diaspora, like, came together.
Right.
Yeah.
Seriously.
For this. For
Seriously.
one fight. And
my brother always talked about how Manny Pacquiao can unite all Filipinos.
Totally.
And, like, he's like, dude, that's your guy. And like, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I remember going to Vegas, and then after the fight, we'd go to like California Casino to get oxtail soup.
Oh.
And then like people would be like, other Filipinos would go there, and like we'd go drunk. And then people just start chanting Manny, Manny, Manny in the restaurant.
And everyone joins in because they know.
Yeah. And then, it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then, he started fighting bigger opponents. And he got like Nike endorsement. He was just like all over the place. And, non-Filipinos started to know who he was.
Yeah, I remember listening to K-Rock. It's a 106.7 in Los Angeles, and Kevin Ryder is like he's one of the DJs, and he was like a big fan of Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
So when they would talk about like whatever fight it was, he'd be like, "It's all about Manny Pacquiao. He's gonna win." Da 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 da. And I was just like, "Oh, like this guy, like this like resident like local celebrity knew about Manny Pacquiao."
Yeah.
And the way I would get to work. I would see Manny Pacquiao's entourage for his workout. I always forgot about that because I would take
Griffith Park.
Oh no, because I would take Beverly Boulevard, and he would. I guess his house or whatever his apartment would be around there, so he would be jogging, and I would drive towards UCLA, and I'd be like, "Why are there photographers this early? Like, what paparazzi's there?" And I would see like this Filipino like young guy in a workout outfit. And then I'd see the MP. I would see the logo and be like, oh, he's part of the entourage, but he must be very far behind. Because he'd be like one dude and like everybody in the front. And so I was like, oh, okay. Like he must be around. But I never ever saw Manny Pacquiao. And I was just like, oh, I wish I could see him running or something.
Yeah.
And actually, it's not Manny I wanted to see. I wanted to see Bull Boy. I just loved
You think
Bull
Bull Boy would be like running with him?
I think he would be like riding the Razor scooter.
Okay.
Next to him.
The Razor scooter.
He'll run one block. He goes, oh, I'm tired already.
That's one block rosary.
Because the HBO 24, like I loved, like as much as the fights were fun, but the HBO 24s, like the follow, those were fun.
Yeah.
That I bought into the build up, and I loved Freddie Roach.
Yeah.
To see all the high drama of it all.
You mean Freddy?
Freddie?
Freddy Roots.
I like to think my coach, Freddy Roach.
But it's unique to us, especially because we had, we kind of had access to him a little bit, limited though.
Yeah.
Being in LA,
Oh, that's right.
we would see him
Train.
huh? Oh, yeah, we'd see him train.
Hollywood, right?
Yeah, he would like hike up Griffith
Running
Park.
Canyon, yeah.
You play basketball with a lot of our friends, you know?
Yeah. I we would see him at public appearances.
Yeah.
One time he did like a mini concert at like Island Pacific
Shut up.
in Canoga Park.
No way.
Karaoke machine.
And then like
Shut
he
up.
starts singing and he says, "Oh, I know there's a lot of Latinos here, so I'm going to sing La Bamba." So he's saying La Bamba. I think it's on YouTube somewhere.
Oh,
you can check
Sure
it out.
it is. I mean, when he was on Jimmy Kimmel, our friend Eros was in the audience when he sang the infamous "There's Sometimes When We Touch."
Sometimes when we touch, the honesty is too much.
I mean, I watched that on YouTube so many times when that came out. I was like, "This is the best. I love
And
it."
then he did a tree planting at SIPA.
He gave out turkeys.
Oh my gosh, I forgot we
you
did a thing.
you were in charge of that.
You were
fool.
there.
Yeah.
Weren't you in charge of the turkey giveaway?
Yeah, he did the turkey
No,
giveaway.
I was. Oh my gosh, I was in charge of. One of his promoters wanted to do an outdoor training with Manny because he did an outdoor training in San Francisco, and they're like, "Oh, we want to replicate this in Los Angeles." She goes, "I don't want to do anything kind of like I want it contained. I want it in a park." And we did it in this small park in historic Filipino town.
Lake
I said
Street Park?
Lake Street Park. I'm like, we have to do it in historic Filipino town. And so there was like, I don't know how many people were there, Joe. Maybe a few hundred people were like waiting for him, and he was late.
Oh, he was super late.
He was super late, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not going to do the training anymore." Instead, he signed everyone's autograph until the last person left.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
It was
so nice.
really, it was actually, it turned out pretty awesome. But
Yeah, they had a actual ring propped
I
up.
remember
in the
that.
park.
because he wanted to do a training, and I said, "Oh, let's set up the ring." It was one of the most fun things I ever done. But I gave him a certificate from the city, like, "Hey, Manny," and they had like this paparazzi. Like, the production was hilarious to me. It was just so funny because he had his entourage and he
Yeah.
had a camera.
Yeah.
But like he just kind of stuck around and everybody just lined up like orderly, like very Filipino orderly, lining up, waiting
Yeah.
for their turn. And
It was cool. Yeah, he did a lot of appearances for the Filipino American community. I remember
Yeah.
he did like he threw out the first pitch at Dodger Stadium.
Mhm.
He also did it for the Giants. He also did it for the Padres. So he has no loyalty.
hey, isn't he a Celtics fan?
Yeah, let's not go there. I don't want to talk
He
about
was a
that.
Celtics fan in 2008. Now he's a Warriors fan. Maybe last year he was a Cavs fan.
Such a
I know.
politician, Manny.
But yeah, I also met his dentist.
What?
Yeah, well, he was
Doctor Who? Doctor Who?
Doctor Dentist. No, he was the guy who actually who created his mouthpiece and put like the Philippine
Yeah, I
flag.
really want to go to the dentist.
Yeah, he's a dentist at Canoga Park. In
Oh.
Canoga. Yeah.
That was more interesting than I thought it would be. I was like, where are you going with this, Joe?
You know what I loved about him? He was like so unabashedly like Filipino.
Right.
Right? He
Yes.
was like just like so stereotypically Filipino.
Like, let me play basketball in my chinelas.
Well, the thing is, like, here's my thing about it. Like, why we love him so much, and why I think other folks who are not Filipino loved him so much. There's so many things that we're so maybe embarrassed about.
Mhm.
Maybe it's like, you know, almost insecure about when it comes to being Filipino. We talked about this in our accents, in our showmanship, perhaps, right? But he just didn't care.
Yeah.
And I think we kind of saw, you know, our cousin or our uncle in him, and the way he talked, and he was on international television.
Yeah.
You know, like I think the cool thing about him is like, hey, I'm gonna do this interview. I don't care how I sound. I'm gonna do it in English.
I love,
you know, and
the post-fight interview,
and it was just awesome, and it to me it was very real, and like the realness of it was like, I don't care.
Yeah,
You know? Like,
he would
this
go
is-
on Kimmel and sing freaking karaoke songs. Yeah.
yeah. He made Jimmy Kimmel a house party.
Yeah, totally. I just remember post-fight interviews.
Oh,
we
they're
were
the
like,
best.
okay, let's count how long this is gonna be, or how many. He's like, I want to. And I was like, how long is this? How long is this? It was the best. I'm like, yes.
Dude, there was one time where he was talking about, there's a glove controversy, right? Because I guess he wore a different kind of
Oh,
gloves
right,
for the
right.
previous fight,
Mhm.
and so for this fight he wore Cleto Reyes gloves,
Mhm.
right? So it's a type of glove,
Okay.
right? And they asked him about it during the post fight interview, and he would say, "Oh yeah, about the gloves. I like using the clitoris glove." I was like, wait, what?
He did not.
Yeah, I had
That's not what he said. Did he
Dude.
really say that?
dude. Like I had to like. I was like, what?
Please
what
put
did he
that on
say?
our vlog.
It's like, before I used the other glove, but this one I like the clitoris glove.
Enunciate, Manny.
Clitoris.
Oh my god.
I you know, it might be on YouTube somewhere. I'm gonna check it out.
Oh my god.
But yeah, Cleto Reyes was clitoris to Manny. But yeah.
Oh my god, that's so. I didn't know that. That's the best.
But yeah, like, yeah, he was just so unabashedly Filipino. He had like a 50-man barkada, you know?
Yeah, like, and I mentioned like Dave Bautista, but it's just kind of like he brought I think it's because Filipinos crave like seeing ourselves on TV, or crave
Yeah.
heroes wherever we can find them. So Manny was a hero. So to see Dave Bautista, WWE superstar, who is now like in Guardians of the Galaxy, like in his entourage, and you're just like, what is happening? This giant of a man is following this tiny little man.
But did he have Rob Schneider in his entourage?
No, he didn't. Did not. I mean, because it's kind of like when Floyd Mayweather had like Justin Bieber, you're supposed to be like, oh, that's a big deal. I'm like, eh. But then I'm like, man, he had Dave Bautista. Like, that's cool.
And 10 of our cousins.
And 10 of our cousins.
Oh, man. Remember his mom?
Oh, I love
Mama
her.
The rosary?
Dionisia?
I love her.
Oh, she would do like all the black magic.
The hexes.
When she would like be praying and then pointing,
Yes.
and then you'd be like, what is she doing?
and that drawn in eyebrow.
I would imagine my mom being like that if I fought, and like she'd be crazy, you know?
It
Don't
was-
hit my son! Don't hit my son!
It was so good. Joseph! What do you think she was yelling at when she was
I
pointing?
don't know, maybe something Visaya. Visaya? I don't know.
I'm beside. I don't know what she would be saying.
Visaya.
She was holding her rosary, so was she just saying "Hail Mary" really angry?
Like, don't hurt my son, probably, I think. Or I don't know.
Or is
I
she
don't
saying
know.
like,
How would you say that in Bisaya?
I don't know. Hail
don't know
Mary,
either.
full of grace.
Die. That's all I know.
No, but he's a guy, so it'd be dong.
Is it dong?
Yeah.
What's bye?
Bye?
I heard like Visayan say bye to each other.
Like, bye.
It's like paalam, but, you know.
Hey, high five.
Thanks, dude.
Hey.
Goodbye.
Bye.
No, instead of die, fool, they said bye.
I don't know. I've never heard that.
Sige na, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're saying bye.
They're saying bye. I think it's pretty clear, Joe.
Because dice for girl and dong is for boy.
Oh man.
But yeah, some of the other things that made him like unabashedly Filipino also kind of expose some, bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't say bad stuff, but
Controversial.
or the things that like just for example, the fact that he made a concerted effort to speak English.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just didn't want to speak in his own language, but
Mm-hmm.
he wanted to speak English.
Do you think it was because he's from Mindanao? So he's like, Bisaya is my first language. I don't want to screw up Tagalog, so I'm going to speak English instead.
But he didn't learn English growing up. Like that's what I'm saying. So like,
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying, like when you see like Mexican fighters,
Oh, they just speak in
they just
Spanish.
speak Spanish. And they don't
That's
care.
true.
And it just goes to show the kind of hierarchy of language.
Internalized
Yeah.
colonialism.
The hierarchy of language in the Philippines. And like, even
Dang,
now
Joe.
he
Keeping it real.
but even now, like he gets made fun of because of his English.
Right.
Yeah.
Like in Congress.
Mhm.
People make fun of him because he doesn't
Well,
speak English very well.
That was something I picked up on HBO 24 because so Freddie would say all the things, right?
Yeah.
And in my head, I was like, why is Boboy there translating what Freddie is saying? Like, doesn't Manny understand? Like, he should understand English. And then and then when I would pay close attention to what Boboy was saying, because he was saying in Bisaya, I would be like, he's not saying anything Freddie is saying. Like Freddie is like, sweep to the left, da, 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 and Boboy is just like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, that's not what he's saying, Boboy. That's not what Freddie is telling him.
Stick and move, Manny. Manny, mamaya kakain tayo.
Saan tayo?
Saan tayo kakain, Manny? Remember, Manny, stick and move. Thai barbecue, sige.
He'd be like, S8, S8, S8.
Bobo, you got it wrong.
That's wrong.
So, why do you think he got so big? Like to
Well, because boxing is boring, and there was no star, and
Well,
he picked up the torch.
I think part of it is boxing in itself, right? I think I'm going to go back to like Thriller in Manila, where boxing in the Philippines was big because it was big in America, right?
Uh-huh.
Especially,
American colonization
yeah.
that introduced boxing to us.
and boxing also entails gambling, and it's probably one of the I remember describing this in college. It's one of those few sports where a Filipino could be successful in it internationally because there's a weight class.
yeah.
There's a size thing to
Did
it.
Manny start as a Olympic boxer?
No.
No.
think
Oh,
so.
he didn't have that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So to me, like the popularity of it is like one, the opportunity of it being a global, we'll call it global sport or entertainment, and then the fact that he was different than most boxers we've ever seen.
Because he was a lefty.
No, because he was Filipino.
Yeah.
And not that there weren't many Filipino boxers that we didn't follow in the past, but he was also very successful at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you look at it, living in Southern California, most of the boxers that we've seen here
Are all
growing
Latino.
up, either Latino or African American, right? And so to have a Filipino in Hollywood training, I thought was already kind of like the stage was set for him to kind of like take advantage of that.
Yeah.
But you're right, Elaine. I think boxing during that time there was nobody else to watch. I mean,
wasn't.
Golden Boy was
Golden
done
Boy
and
was
just singing.
gone. The Klitschko's were refused to fight each other, which is why the heavyweight draw was so boring.
Mhm.
Yeah. But they had the great Pinoy boxing era. You see, like
Yeah,
they're in the
why
20s
not?
and 30s.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
They played people like Pancho Villa.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Who else?
I mean,
Seferino Garcia. He actually lived in LA.
oh,
Seferino Garcia. And during the 60s, it was Flashy Lorde.
Mhm. Yep.
so John Air, was that supposed to be like the
No,
second
Dita.
coming?
Yeah, I mean, there's always
Manny?
those other second comings that
Yeah.
like
Because he kind of.
there's like Boom Boom Bautista.
Mhm.
Remember him and like.
But like Manny and Don Air, like Don Air came like a little halfway through Manny Pacquiao's like reign, and then it kind of
Yeah.
fizzled out. Like I haven't
yeah,
seen.
he's
much.
still fighting.
He is?
He is. He's not as big. There's also like Mercito Hesta.
See, I'm learning right
so,
now.
like all these different kind of hopefully second coming of Manny Pacquiao, but they would have this event down in Carson at the Home Depot Center. They call it Philippines versus Mexico.
I remember that. I remember that.
It's so bad because it's like they pitted two
countries.
like third world countries together, or not third world, but like people of color. They pitted them against each other.
We're conquered by the same people.
I know. But why was he so big to like Filipinos, to us? Like, why was he so?
Because he was our uncle. Like we all had an uncle who.
The Bastos uncle.
The Bastos uncle. He, likes karaoke, claims to be able to fight, and it's like you had that in your family. So we accepted him as our family. And he won. We were winners.
Like a lot. And he won, and it was exciting because he was winning. He always wanted to be on the winning team.
Joe,
like
it's like,
said.
why are we Laker fans?
Hey.
It's because we were winners. We are winners.
The operative we're
16 rings. 16.
You guys are both wearing purple today. You guys can't see this, but Jesus.
We're both wearing Laker-inspired shirts.
Unintentionally.
Unintentionally, but it's because we Purp and gold. But back to Manny Pacquiao.
I think part of it is the winning thing. Right?
Yeah, I mean he won in a international stage, and that's a stage where people kind of I guess
because the sport for so long, like boxing, was dominated by Latinos and African Americans, so it's kind of like he was an anomaly.
Yeah.
And so it's like you're going to root for the anomaly, especially if you're Filipino and he's Filipino. Like, I'm going to root for that.
Yeah. And on this is maybe not as popular opinion, but I imagine during that time too, boxing was making a big push towards the marketing strategies because MMA was on the rise.
Yeah.
And, boxing was really, what Elaine was talking about was actually boring and almost dying during that time, right?
And like,
so
if you ever watch a Mayweather fight, like he's a good fighter, but he's a defensive fighter. So his fights are boring to watch.
Yeah. Great boxer.
He's a great boxer. I'm going to give him that. But I would not pay money to watch him.
Right.
And so that was another thing about when they finally fought, when Mayweather and Pacquiao fought. I was like, A, Mayweather is past his prime. Mm-hmm. B, Manny is obviously past his prime. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I thought he was on the beginning of the end. Mm-hmm. And so it was no surprise to me when he lost because it just felt like it. And then this is going to be like total like Filipino like chismis rumors and stuff that my dad with like mumbo jumbo was like, you know what happened? And I'm like, yes, Dad, what? It's because he's not Catholic anymore.
Dude, I was thinking the same thing.
My dad said...
And 40 million other people are thinking the exact same thing.
My dad said, it's because he left the church.
That's what you get.
That's what you get.
I wasn't thinking that like I believed it.
Yeah.
But you thought
I thought like, oh, maybe people like think this.
Yeah, and then my dad's like, his mother's rosaries are not going to work because he's not Catholic anymore. I was like, Dad. And I'm like, you're right. Because look, he lost.
But, going back to what we kind of talked about in the beginning where Manny Pacquiao became a symbol or a reference for non-Filipinos to identify with us.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest reasons why the Filipino community kind of gravitated towards Manny because he made us visible in this quote-unquote stage.
Beyond lumpia and pancit.
Yeah. So it's kind of like this kind of weird... it incited some kind of weird nationalism.
Totally.
Because for so long we've been invisible or marginalized that like, hey, we're...
Right.
People are talking about us.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you think it also relates to how post, the People Power Marcos era, we needed something to celebrate because there's like a succession of just, lukewarm to bad presidents, constant like kind of bad news and disasters. I remember when I was in college and thinking about all the news coming out of the Philippines was either something bizarre or just bad. Mm-hmm. Like you wouldn't often hear like a positive story about things going on in the Philippines. It's like it's another coup, another corrupt president.
Yeah.
And so I think there was like kind of the succession of just like this, where's the optimistic view,
Right.
You know, and then having this boxer come out and referencing what you were saying earlier, Joe, about like kind of that history of boxing, and you know, the Philippines always being on the mind of people who are fans of boxing in some way or another. You know, this was kind of like maybe a perfect storm of things that people could latch onto.
Yeah.
And then he became a congressman and it crumbled. And then he said like reprehensible things about LGBT people and it crumbled.
Oh God, yeah.
Because like Dave Bautista was on Talk is Jericho, like another podcast. I follow wrestling podcasts. I'm a wrestling fan. And he talks about how he has the Filipino flag tattooed on him, right? And it's there to represent his Filipino heritage. But he also had a Pacquiao tattoo. And that is now covered up because of the comments that Pacquiao has made about LGBT, the LGBT community. And I was just like, props to you, Dave Bautista, for covering it up, because like I would also want to do that if I had that.
Yeah. And there's kind of this collective embarrassment now.
Yeah.
Amongst Filipino Americans about that aspect of his life.
Right.
But then it just makes me think like this kind of, I don't say adoration, but like this this investment we have in just one person to bring us all up as a community. Like that's how I just think how fragile that is.
Yeah.
And then it makes me think like, so why does it have to take other people's recognition to validate
to make us legit, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like the talk about Filipino food movement, right? Like everyone saying Filipino food is the next big thing, and it's kind of like it's getting validation by like white America.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like I don't in my opinion, like we don't need your validation. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier today, even about how, you know, it's great that people that we care about are now in business and making money and they're getting attention. But the flip side of that is that, you know, is it only because of this desire for that kind of acceptance and mainstreaming? And is that really a healthy way to grow the culture and to bring people into the culture? It's kind of like going back to even just like the whole, you know, oh, I know Filipinos, I know pancit, ha ha ha, you know, like, you know, having multicultural day at your school or like your workplace, you know, it's a start of a conversation, you know, and I think Pacquiao was the start of some conversations, but whether or not it elevated to the level of, you know, but here's who we really are, and here's how we really feel about ourselves, and here's how we can kind of engage in the larger global stage. I don't think it ever got to that point. And I think also, well, obviously because he started losing, and also thinking about the things you were saying about who he is now and the collective embarrassment about him. I mean, those are things that were intrinsic to him all along. It's just because of the fact he started losing that we paid attention to the other things that were happening. And I think like even if you think about it, like once the Philippines starts losing, you start kind of catching all these things that, you know, you were willing to overlook, but were always there anyways.
Yeah.
He was such a feel-good story, and everything about, you know, it was surprising to me year after year. The story became better and better, right? I mean, this is all before, and all the stuff that had happened before he got elected into Congress.
Yeah.
But you know, we chose to believe that feel-good story, which is fine because that's what was being shown to us. And I think for a lot of it's like, you know, what Mike was saying is like a lot of these things that he said later on it wasn't necessarily new to him. You know, it was new to us.
Part of him.
Yeah, it was always part of him. But, you know, he was such a feel-good story during that time, and why wouldn't you ride that bandwagon and feel good? And I think that's part of it. And you know, sometimes, you know, we have the sad reality of the truth, or even like a revelation of something a lot deeper than that. And, you know, maybe we didn't get to capitalize on talking about that larger stage, you know? And unfortunately, what ended up happening was, you know, we ended up making excuses, like for the stuff that he said. Like family members ended up making excuses, and then there are folks who are like, "Oh, I'm not gonna buy this pay-per-view anymore, but can I go to your house?" If you're we used to buy it all the time and invite people over. I can't believe I'm gonna out my dad on this, but and then after all the stuff that he said, I'm like, I'm not gonna be party to this. But my dad's like, can you please just buy it for me so I can watch it? Like, you know, like, so we wouldn't invite people over, but we'll have it on. We're like, I guess I got to watch it. I paid $60.
I mean, the thing is, even though you knew those things and like he kind of fell off the wagon a little bit, right? He still wanted to succeed.
Yeah.
Because like, it's kind of like when he wins, we all win.
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of like the weird thing about like nationalism and sports
Right.
and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm conflicted sometimes. We're like, the Mayweather fight, I went to Vegas for that. I didn't go inside the arena because it was way too expensive.
Yeah.
But I watched it in the hotel, and
Mhm.
I knew he had those. I knew he was a
Flawed.
hero or whatever.
But you still went.
I still went, and I
Yeah.
wanted him to win because
Did you want it to be a part of the spectacle?
part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
And then just going back to the fact that like, you'd see Filipinos
Yeah.
like around, and like you like raise up your fist, yeah, Manny,
Yeah.
Filipino, right? And then I remember this one time, me and my friends were watching the fight in the arena, and there was just like this uncle just by himself like in front of us, right? And then after the fight, he turned back to our whole group, and he just kind of raised his hand, and then
For
like
high fives?
Terminator 2, like he made into like a thumbs up. And he goes, Manny. so, and then that just felt good,
Mhm.
just kind of like, we're going through, in society in America, like your Filipino-ness is sometimes invisible,
Mhm.
or like it's hidden, or
Yeah.
or you're marginalized somehow. But then, someone like Manny can come along and actually make you feel good about who you are.
Well, think of this is going to be a little academic, but if you think about it, like Asian American men, the three of you are like, and it's in America, like you many times the story is you get demasculized or emasculated, right? And
Mhm.
so to see a Filipino American dominate in such a masculine machismo type sport, it's got to be an ego boost.
Yeah, and he wasn't an asshole about it.
Yeah.
He was still like humble and
Right.
He was a nice guy for what we thought,
yeah.
Right.
and
And he did what we did. He played basketball and sang karaoke and kicked
more
people's
chanellas.
asses, right?
Yeah,
And then
definitely.
smiled about it.
There's definitely like there should be a major study on
Mhm.
Manny Pacquiao and Asian American masculinity.
Yeah,
Because there's so much to unpack there.
there is. There
Yeah.
totally is.
There's a few articles out there I've read, but
Because I think about it, and
Mhm.
I remember yelling at the screen because like he'd be in the fight, and we would all be like, "Get your mean face, Manny! Get your mean face!" And he couldn't. He'd always still be smiling the whole time, like, "Hey, hey, hey, hey,
Yeah.
let's go, let's go!" And then we would be like, "Stop smiling!" And he couldn't. And it's kind of like, oh, because that was Manny.
I'm gonna kick your ass.
with my clitoris gloves.
And then come to the party, and I'm going to sing a karaoke concert after my win. Like, okay.
I remember one post fight, he was like, "Everybody, go to Wrong Jungle."
Yes, I remember that. I remember that distinctly.
I'm gonna have my party. And I have to
Because he had to get his ear drained so he wouldn't get cauliflower ear, and he wore a fedora.
Oh,
I remember it.
yeah.
I remember that.
Oh my god!
I am impressed by your memory of
because fedora.
with great power comes great responsibility. I'm like, way to quote Spider-Man. Manny. Well done, sir.
I mean, it was entertaining. It was
Yeah.
so entertaining watching him.
Yeah, yeah.
And now it's painful.
Mm-hmm. So
Well, I don't watch him anymore.
I don't watch him anymore either.
Do you think there's gonna be another figure in sports or whatever industry that's gonna
I
come
hope
around
so.
and kind of unite or galvanize or just even though it's not like somehow unite the Filipino diaspora?
Yes, Jeremy
Outdoor.
Clarkson on the Lakers. They're going to keep him, and then he's going to rally all of us.
You mean Jordan
I
Clarkson?
mean Jordan Clarkson.
Jeremy Clarkson from Top Gear.
Jeremy Clarkson from Top Gear. Whoops. My brain is not working.
I don't think it might, because the thing is, like, part of it's like his phenotype doesn't look Filipino.
Oh, phenotype?
Yeah.
Is that a word?
It is. It's a biology term.
Thank you, Dr. Bernardo.
It's a type of pheno.
A type of Filipino?
So he doesn't look quote unquote
Okay.
Filipino.
All right. So we need somebody to look
Well, like
Filipino.
Kobe Paras or
Kobe
Mm.
he's gonna see sun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is.
Yeah. I wonder. It'd be cool if it'd be like the Filipino soccer team or something wins the World Cup.
Filipinos play soccer?
Yeah, it's a
The
global
Ascals.
sport.
The Ascals.
Okay.
Ascals.
News
Little
to
League
me.
baseball team.
Yes. I'm crying.
Efren Reyes, Bata Reyes.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, those sports aren't big enough.
What about the baseball player on the Cubs?
Oh, Addison Russell.
Yeah.
Again, he's kind of part Pinoy.
True.
So then, like, not everybody will like
but
automatically.
Addison Russell of the
Yeah.
Chicago Cubs, if you want to talk to us, we would totally. I mean, we are Dodger fans, but we'll still talk to you because
Yeah. So like, because he doesn't quote unquote look Filipino. Right.
But you look Filipino to us.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we all know.
We all know.
So like, non-Filipinos won't automatically have that association. That
Yeah,
he's Filipino.
true.
The poker boom's dead, but I'll be the first Filipino World Series of poker.
Dude,
Well, actually, there's been some bracelet winners, but
if you did that, you would have to wear a TFL shirt.
of course.
See, the hard part of that also is Filipinos love basketball.
Too short.
Yeah, but it's like we're like the least biologically fit to actually succeed in basketball.
Nate Robinson played basketball.
And everybody claims he's like 1/8 Filipino.
I thought he was Filipino. I read that on Wikipedia.
That I don't know.
How do you know he's
Maybe.
Filipino? He's so short.
He's very small.
So I mean, might not be sports. I don't know, but sports is like a kind of a galvanizing thing for
Yeah.
nationalism.
And it's also a matter of like what do we choose to highlight, and we've been talking about this. There's like a Filipino chess master that's
Really?
right.
Yeah.
And,
Let's talk to that person.
and a fencer, right?
Fencer.
There's a fencer Filipina American in like
What does she sell?
He sells
What does she fence?
Pens.
A fence fence?
Pen,
Pen,
Celtic pen, pentel pen.
oh man.
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's gonna be someone in our lifetime. Maybe
Yeah.
in future.
Maybe it
future
could be like the
generations.
winner of RuPaul's Drag Race will be like Filipino.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
One day. Didn't there one? Maybe I don't remember. There's been a couple.
We have Kellyanne Conway's husband. He's Filipino.
Oh,
Hey, Mike.
That's how we're gonna end
Hey,
this one.
Mike.
Boo.
Boo. No.
Well, no, there's T.J. Perkins too. right?
TJ Perkins.
Yeah.
TJ Perkins of WWE Superstar. He's on 205 Live. He was the first, champion. I forgot. My brain's bread. But
Brett, your brain.
my
Your
brain's
brain's
bread.
But you have tweeted at him, so
Chicken hot bread.
But yeah, maybe in future generations, but in our lifetime, we have witnessed
Manny Pacquiao.
Manny Pacquiao, and that was a cool moment. Well, even though it ended kind of weird, it was a cool moment for a bit, and it was good.
It was great.
Yeah. Well, anyways, thank you very much.
Hey, Joe.
What's up?
Because sometimes when we touch,
The honesty is too much.
I want to hold you. I don't know if that's the rest of the song.
No, it's
but
not the next
I
one.
messed that up.
you always skip.
I always skip this.
Thank you, Pretty.
Thank you.
Pretty Roots.
Pretty Roach.
Thank you for listening to our show. But Manny Pacquiao, if you want to talk to us, we're open. We would totally like to talk to you and ask you
to bring
questions.
Boboy.
And can you please bring Boboy because he's awesome.
All right. Thank you very much. Bye.
This Filipino American Life is produced by Michael Nailat. Our intro and outro music is by Roger Habon, aka 10.4 Raj. Resident reality checker Girly Colado, legal advisor Rianne Fajardo, and graphic design by Vincent Collier.